You know what surprised me most after years of decluttering? It wasn't how much stuff we owned, it was how much of it we never questioned. I used to think I just needed better baskets, a few more bins, maybe the right drawer dividers would finally make everything feel under control. But no matter what I bought or how many times I organized, the mess kept coming back. And eventually I realized it wasn't the house that was broken. It was the way I was thinking about it. So in this video, I'm sharing 10 small shifts that finally helped me make our home feel livable. Not perfect, not Pinterest-worthy, just genuinely easier to live in. These aren't tips from a magazine. They're habits I've tried, adjusted, and stuck with over time because they work even when life feels messy. And the first one, it's not about buying, folding, or cleaning. It's about changing the way we think about getting our house in order. Let's begin. The first thing I want to say is this. Don't wait for the perfect time to start decluttering. Don't wait until you have matching bins, a full free weekend, or the motivation to do it properly. Because that time, it rarely comes. I used to walk past cluttered corners and think I'll get to it when I have a full afternoon. But the afternoons kept getting filled and the piles kept growing. Everything changed when I stopped waiting and just started. Anywhere. With anything. Now when I feel overwhelmed, I give myself 10 minutes. That's it. I pick one drawer, one bag, or one random pile of stuff, and I just deal with what I can in that time. One time it was a basket under the sink. Another time it was the pile of shoes near the door. Some days I toss two things. Some days I make real progress. But every time I feel more in control. You don't need a system, you need a starting point. Because taking action, even imperfectly, is what breaks the cycle of feeling stuck. And trust me, once you get that first drawer done, you'll start noticing all the little habits that quietly undo your progress, the ones that make your space messy again without you even realizing it. That's exactly what I'm breaking down in tomorrow's video, the everyday habits that make or break a clean-feeling home. Simple things you might be doing or skipping without knowing how much they impact the whole vibe of your space. So if you've ever thought, why does it get messy again so fast, don't miss that one. Honestly, it's one of the most eye-opening lists I've ever shared. Next is the second thing, a small shift in how you think before anything even enters your home. Because if we don't control what comes in, no amount of organizing will ever feel enough. Let's move to the second thing, and it might surprise you. Because this one isn't about organizing or cleaning at all. It's about not bringing more in to begin with. Before I used to say yes to every freebie, every cute mug at the store, every well-meant gift or sale item. If it was cheap, useful, or nice to have, I let it in. But here's the truth. Most of the clutter in my house didn't come from what I failed to throw out. It came from what I didn't stop from entering. Now I pause. Even just 10 seconds. Before I buy something or say yes to bringing it home, I ask, do I truly need this? Will I still want it 3 months from now? Could I borrow it or find it secondhand? The more I practiced this tiny pause, the more natural it became. These days, I walk out of stores empty-handed more often, and it feels so good. It's not about being frugal. It's about not filling my space with things I'll regret later. Think of it as a filter. The better your filter, the less cleanup you need later. Now that we've slowed the flow in, let's talk about what to do when something does come in, because even with a filter, new things will still show up. That's where the next habit comes in. Now to the third thing. This is what actually keeps the balance. Even when we're careful about what comes in life, happens. Birthdays, hand-me-downs, random Target runs, stuff still finds its way home. That's why we use this rule when something new comes in, something old has to go out. It's not about being rigid, it's about staying aware. When my husband brought home a free t-shirt from a conference, he didn't just add it to the pile. He pulled out 2 he never wore anymore and put them in our donation bag. Done in 30 seconds. We do the same with our kids. If they get a new puzzle or book, we go through their shelf and find something they've outgrown or lost interest in. This habit doesn't take much time, but it has a huge impact. It stops the slow buildup that sneaks in while we're busy living life. We even keep a goodbye bin in the hallway closet. Every time something new enters, something else quietly exits. This way, our home stays balanced without needing big purge sessions. Up next, let's simplify the decision-making even more with one rule that helps you know exactly what to keep and what to let go. No guilt, no overthinking. Just a 90-second filter for the next 90 days. The fourth thing might feel a little bold, but it's one of the most freeing habits I've tried. It's called the 90-90 rule. If you haven't used it in the last 90 days, and don't plan to in the next 90, let it go. This rule cuts through that mental fog of maybe I'll need it someday and replaces it with a clear, kind decision-making line. I used to keep all kinds of just-in-case things: an extra curling iron, a stack of fancy serving dishes, even a pair of jeans that hadn't fit since 2019. They sat there quietly taking up space and reminding me of unfinished stories. Then I tried the 90-90 rule, starting with my bathroom drawers. That old lipstick, I hadn't touched it in months and honestly wouldn't miss it. Into the bin. The unopened bath salts I got last Christmas, still untouched and no plans to use them soon. Out they went. This works best in small areas. One shelf, one drawer, one basket each week. It takes 10 minutes, but over time it clears out the buildup that keeps your space feeling stuck. If the idea of decluttering feels overwhelming, this rule gives you a quiet, doable way to begin and permission to be honest with yourself. And speaking of value, let's move into the fifth habit, where we stop chasing trends and start curating a home that truly reflects you. So here's the fifth habit, and I promise it's simpler than it sounds. You've probably found yourself scrolling through decor feeds or visiting a store thinking, "That's so trendy right now," and bringing something home just because it felt like it belonged somewhere. And how many times did that item end up tucked away unused or moved to the donation pile 6 months later? Here's the change: instead of buying to follow the trend, buy because you'll still love it in 5 years. Start by writing down 3 qualities your things must have. I wrote warm texture, soft matte color, and item that makes everyday life easier. Now every time I consider something new, whether it's a lamp, a mug, or a piece of clothing, I check. Does it match these 3? If not, I walk away. Last week, I was tempted by a bright neon vase labeled Summer's Must Have. It didn't match a single one of my 3 criteria, so I left it on the shelf. No regret. In contrast, I found a simple woven basket in natural fiber that quietly matched all 3. It cost less, holds my kids' toys, and because I love the texture and color, I keep it out, not stashed. That shift saved me from countless buys that didn't last, and from feeling like I'm constantly chasing what everyone else has. Because when your home is filled with items you genuinely love, you're not fighting clutter. You're living in a space that reflects you, not the moment. Next, we'll move into habit 6, creating explicit homes for every item in your space, so nothing wanders and creates chaos. Let's head into the 6th habit, and it's one that quietly prevents chaos from creeping back in. Most clutter doesn't start as clutter. It starts as "I'll just set this here for now," but without a clear place to return to, even useful things end up as a mess. That's why one of the simplest ways to stay organized is this: everything you keep must have a home. A real home, not a whatever shelf or just toss it in that drawer home. I used to lose 10 minutes every morning looking for my keys. They'd be in my purse on the counter, sometimes in the fridge. Don't ask. Now they live in a small dish by the door. Always. Last week, I tackled our kids' art supplies. Markers lived in 5 different spots. So I picked one cabinet, put in 2 clear bins, one labeled coloring and one labeled craft tools, and told my kids this is where it all goes back. The mess didn't vanish, but cleanup now takes 2 minutes instead of 20. Start with one area today: your nightstand, your desk drawer, your entryway. Ask, do the things here have a home? If not, give them one. This way you don't have to organize every weekend. Things just find their way back. Now let's shift gears into something smaller but sneakier, all those papers that pile up and steal mental space without us realizing it. Now we're on to the 7th shift, and it tackles something deceptively small but surprisingly stressful: paper clutter. You might not see it at first, but stacks of unopened mail, kids' drawings, school forms, and old receipts have a way of quietly stealing mental space. They sit in corners, on counters, in drawers, and every time you glance their way, your brain whispers, "You should really deal with that." Here's how I finally took control. I created a simple 3-step paper flow: 1 inbox tray and 2 folders. That's it. Everything paper goes into the tray first. Once a day, I spend 5 minutes sorting it into action bills, forms, RSVPs, or keep important documents. Anything else, straight to recycling. For example, when school papers come in, I don't leave them on the table for later. I read, sign, file, or toss right then. This one habit stopped the papers from growing into emotional clutter. Try this in a spot that always piles up near your entryway or kitchen counter. A single basket labeled paper inbox can completely change how you feel when you walk by. Because when papers have a place and a plan, they stop owning your brain. And speaking of the brain, let's lighten one more invisible weight, that never-ending feeling that laundry is never truly done. Now we're at habit number 8, and it's about changing how we deal with one of the most exhausting chores: laundry. For many women, laundry doesn't just pile up physically, it builds up mentally. Even when it's not full, the basket feels like a never-ending task. You glance at it and your brain goes, "Still not done." What changed everything for me was this. I stopped waiting until the basket was full. Instead, I started doing laundry every 1-2 days, smaller loads faster to fold, no buildup. It takes less time overall and removes that nagging weight that grows with a mountain of clothes. For example, I toss in a load right after breakfast every other morning. By lunch, it's done, folded, and away. No weekend laundry marathons, no piles waiting on the couch. My basket never feels overwhelming because it never gets the chance. And the best part, I don't have to think about it. It becomes a rhythm, not a chore. Just like brushing your teeth, you don't wait until your mouth feels gross. You do it regularly before it becomes a problem. Try it for 1 week, set a reminder every 2 days to check the basket. Even if there are just a few things, do it. You'll be shocked how freeing it feels. And now let's talk about a habit so small it barely takes effort, but it's the one that quietly protects your home from turning into a mess all over again. We're getting close to the end, but this next habit is one of the most powerful for keeping your home in shape without feeling like you're always tidying. It's this: the second you're done with something, put it back. Right then, not later, not just for now. Because "I'll put it back in a bit" is how clutter quietly takes over. A book on the table, a jacket on the chair, a cup on the counter. 1 or 2 don't matter, but 10 of them. That's visual chaos. The shift happens when putting things away isn't a separate task. It's part of using the item. I use it. I put it back. Full stop. Here's a real example. I used to leave my hairdryer out every morning thinking I'd use it again the next day. But that one item made the whole vanity feel messy. Now I unplug, wrap the cord, drop it in the drawer, takes 15 seconds. The difference in how I feel walking into that space? Instant calm. You can try this with just one thing today, maybe your kitchen tools or makeup. The key is not letting objects hover between in use and put away. No limbo zone. When this becomes second nature, your space stays clean without extra effort because mess never gets the chance to form. And to close out, let's look at one seasonal habit that frees up space, clears mental load, and keeps your home breathing all year round. And finally, let's talk about a small habit that clears out space, air, and decision fatigue all at once. Most of us keep everything we own within arm's reach, even when we're not using half of it. That's how summer sandals stay in the hallway all through winter, or heavy coats stay squeezed into the closet when it's 90 degrees out. And the result? A home that always feels slightly overstuffed, like it's waiting to be sorted but never quite gets there. That's why I created one simple rule: a seasonal holding tray. It's not a donation bin. It's not storage. It's just a designated space, a basket or box where I drop things I know I won't need for the next 3 months. Every quarter I do a quick sweep: scarves, gloves, rain boots, holiday-themed mugs, chunky throws, anything that feels out of sync with the season. They go into the tray, which lives in the top of the closet or a shelf in the laundry room. This way, I'm not overwhelmed by out-of-place items. My home reflects the now, not the leftover, and the mental relief is huge. I'm not forced to decide if I'll ever use something again. I'm just deciding if I'll use it soon. If not, into the tray it goes. Give it a shot this weekend. Grab a basket, label it "Not Now," and start with just 5 items. Your space will breathe easier, and so will you. Let's close this out together. I've got one gentle reminder and a little teaser for what's coming next. That's how I slowly began to shift my space, not by overhauling everything at once, but by rethinking 10 small intentional habits that quietly shape how my home feels every single day. If your mind has been carrying the weight of clutter, constant decisions, and the feeling that mess just keeps coming back, just choose one shift to start. Maybe it's creating a "not now" basket, or choosing not to fold that one load of pajamas. One tiny act can soften the pressure more than you'd expect. And if you're thinking, "I wish my home just stayed clean without all the rework," then tomorrow's video is exactly what you need. I'm walking through the everyday rhythms that make clean last and feel easier, not heavier. You might realize it's not about working more, just differently. If something in today's video made you pause or exhale, go ahead and like or subscribe. That tells me these changes are helping. You deserve a home that makes you feel supported, not stuck.